Let's talk about Ahsoka then.
All right, I can do that.
I don't know, man. There's things I like about these next two episodes. I thought these two episodes were better than the first two.
Do you think it's possible that? So I had predicted that season 3 of Mandalorian was as dopey. Forget the story, and forget the characters, and forget a lot of the creative decisions. Just the way it was shot, it was so volumey. Compare it to that episode where Freetown and the Tuskens take down the Krayt Dragon, or compare it to the one where Bill Burr killed his commanding officer. And compare it to the introduction of Boba Fett in Mando season 2, or when they were attacked by the Dark Troopers. Like, that was like a really well developed set of Star Wars content. And Mando season 3 suddenly felt like it was being shot on a stage with SNL actors. Something happened.
Yeah.
And I was thinking it was budget. And that probably is a factor, that they were like, okay, we gotta start serving the audience something that we can afford. But now I'm starting to think maybe it's that Dave Filoni is not very good with movie making. Maybe he he's an animator and he knows his way around a set, but like,
yeah. And it feels, I don't know if this is true or not. Haven't heard anything, but it feels like Favreau took a step back.
Yeah. I don't see his influence here at all.
And this, yeah, it's definitely, and most of this story, quote unquote story, is just finding maps, searching for maps, like getting the maps uploaded in time, maps. Even the most recent episode 4, is it 4? Yeah. Where, they do this thing where they find Ahsoka's ship in the woods. So they send droids first and they fight the droids, and they run into the forest and they fight Margot Tenenbaum, Sith, and then they fight her, and then they run to where the map is and they fight Ray Stevenson. It's like there's so many just killing time, like stretching it for time, it feels like.
I like that Star Wars theory guy. He's got a huge Star Wars YouTube channel, and the thing about him is he fucking loves the prequels. But he was saying that like this was his favorite episode of this episode 4 was his favorite episode of any Star Wars thing ever. And I was like, come on. Like when you have Mando season 1 and 2, or for that matter, like the Prison Break episode of Andor, or like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, there was a good moment in this one especially with Ray Stevenson's character. I love that kind of the Sith who's not really a Sith, he's still kind of a Jedi, and he's nostalgic for that. And like when Ahsoka like engages him in battle, he's more like sorrowful that he has to go through with it. It's like he's just like, I guess we have to do this. And then and I like what they did with Sabine as well. The acting and directing it feels very stiff still, and I think Ray Stevenson's probably the best actor of them. So you feel his power, you feel his gravitas, and then the sword fighting with him is really cool because he's got that kind of Darth Vader power thing where he's like really like I think I forget who said it. Somebody was comparing it like Ahsoka was more of like maybe a ninja or samurai, and he was like a knight, you know? So he had that kind of power to him.
Star Wars Theory said that in Jedi Outcast, you can turn up the weight on your lightsaber in the video game. So like if it's like the heaviest weight, it'll, kill in one blow, but it's very hard to wield. And playing with the weights of the lightsabers, and Ahsoka's got these small little lightsabers. I guess that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and then for fighting him, she uses 2 hands on one sword. So there's cool thought behind that. And then the Sabine thing, where he's actually tempting her and persuading her, and she goes with it. I thought that was like an interesting turn because there's like so many. I was picturing in my head like he was offering like, oh, you can go see Edges, or I'll just give me the map, and it's kind of he gives her, because he could probably just freaking take it, and like he's powerful enough, but he's giving her like the opportunity to like be seduced, which I thought was interesting.
A dark side trick, really.
And then the fact that she gives in, and it's not like the stupid version in my head where Ahsoka comes out of nowhere and just saves the day, or she's like defiant and does something stupid, gets stabbed again, still lives, like
totally.
It wasn't the stupid version of it. It was actually kind of an interesting version of it. What I thought they should have done with The Last Jedi, where Rey, after they kill Andy Serkis there, and Kylo Ren's like, "Hey, you should come with me." She should have went with him, even if like it's resolved later. But I thought that was the more interesting version of
just to compel the audience. And that's really like what I'm looking for. I think what makes me lean into a show and really become involved with it is when I feel like I really know the characters and I have expectations about what they're going to do and they're tested. And there's a lot, so even during a lightsaber battle, I need to see their faces and I need to see them make decisions and I need to see how they're feeling. I need to be involved in the characters. And if you shoot it in wide shots on a volume, or medium shots on a volume, and and everybody has robot face.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the fucking show to end.
It's an obstacle. It's an obstacle with this show. It's like everyone's a piece of wood except for like Ray Stevens. And I even like his Jedi apprentice there, the Margot Tenenbaum. She has because she's like hunchy. She's got good physical movement.
There's something interesting there. Yeah.
There's something interesting there. So there's good physicality there. Not that makes much of a character, but
well, it's something.
It's something.
It's the start of something. But then from there, I'd like to now show me something about this character.
Yeah.
Let's start asking questions about this character. But instead, we have to spend a lot of time on who's got what ball and where's the map and give me the thing, give me the item.
They uploaded it, then they destroyed the ball, then they go hyperspace.
Yeah,
and
the dildo is in the cargo ship,
and then boring Hera, she disobeyed orders.
Who is this character and why do I give a shit?
Yeah.
And I've watched some of his little cartoons and they're not they're kind of like this.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, except there's
not super interesting.
Well, they're kind of like this, except they have talented voice actors who actually emote.
Like remember when I did the scene study of Ride of the Rohirrim, the Lord of the Rings thing? Like 90% of what I was saying during that was the filmmaker keeps showing you how the characters are feeling. They seize every moment to give you a character moment because characters are stories. Stories are not like plot is a vessel. Plot is just like what moves the characters along. But like, where's the story? And there's some here. And then, so what you end up doing is you get bored and you become uninterested and you wait for the next cameo. And the cameo happened. It's Anakin shows up in time travel land.
Yeah. And he has digital cum all over his face.
Oh my God. Again, the Star Wars theory guy was like, and it is Anakin. And he looks just like he did in episode 3. I'm like, no, he doesn't. Cut to like a shot from episode 3. He looks like a real human being, with flesh and blood. You look at this and it looks like, I don't know. It looks like somebody did something awful to him. Painted white all over his face.
Oh yeah. I mean, and then it has connections to Rebels. So you have to know like the world between worlds or whatever it's called. And I don't even know. And everyone's hyping up episode 5. So like they're showing it in theaters. Like I think some theaters are showing episode 5.
All right. Well, look.
They're hyping this thing. They better deliver if they're hyping it this much.
I don't as much as I'm saying I don't like it, and I definitely do not like it. I don't resent it.
No.
I'm not mad at it. What was
what's something you resent?
What's something I resent? I don't want to just say She-Hulk. Rings of Power. I totally resent Rings of Power.
That did feel like it stole something from me.
Yeah. I'm not mad at this show. I resented Obi-Wan actually.
Yeah, it felt like it degraded what came before.
So at least this is like it's original characters. It can't really hurt. You know, it can't really, and I haven't seen anything that I'm offended. Truly, I can say this, I think confidently. I haven't seen anything I'm offended by. I just see a lot of like missed opportunities, and I see like filmmaking trends that I'm troubled by, like shooting it way too fast, and this MacGuffin stuff. Again, once you know, I go to Star Wars Theory for all my. He seems to be enjoying the show, and I want to understand what it would be like to enjoy the show. So I listen closely. But he was talking about how in some of the young Obi-Wan Kenobi books, Obi-Wan was kind of a terrible Jedi. He didn't really have a lot of aptitude in the Force, much like Sabine. And so like when he was a kid and Qui-Gon was training him, Qui-Gon would be like, wow, like by the time I was this age, I was able to do like double what this kid can do. Like this kid's pretty behind. And then like as time went on, it became obvious that like Obi-Wan's superpower was his patience. And I love the idea, and you know, the midichlorians did a lot of damage to this at first, and I feel like most stories we've seen in Star Wars has been like unexplainable talent or genetics.
Broom Boyardi's doing like Force shit.
Yeah, so it's great to be like. I do really appreciate that with Sabine. It's like you really have no aptitude, but it's still your destiny. The Force is still in you. I can't help but think a little like when they say things like the Force is in all living things and stuff. It's, you know, George Lucas, man, you got to give this guy credit. He really did borrow from world religion, and you know you see this like, you know, the Holy Spirit, or you see this idea of like you have godlike potential. You're made in the image of a god. You're part of something that's supernatural, that's beyond your flesh. Like you see that in all over Star Wars. Like it's a pretty well, you know, like Star Wars is a great representation of humanity in a lot of ways. But I like this idea of like, yeah, you're probably going to be a pretty lousy Jedi for a while. And in Obi-Wan's case, he was like a rando who ended up being one of the main characters of the galaxy, and all because the guy had patience. Yeah.
And I think that is an interesting part of Sabine. I just wish the character, compelled me more with the performance, and but it's a good concept. I wish it was like.
I think if he makes his movie where he combines the Mandoverse and Ahsoka and everything else, like, can we get a director? You know, somebody who can direct a movie.
Get some directors.
He can write it if he insists, but let's get a director who can direct performances. It's not like Rosario Dawson's a bad actress, okay? Like, there's no reason she should be acting this way.
Just always just folding her arms, looking up and slightly down at you.
When she did it in this episode, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" With the folding arms. Like by the 8th time, I was like, "This is cartoonish."
It reminds me of like the behind the scenes thing where like George Lucas is directing. He was like, and then you're going to go here and you're going to turn.
Yeah.
He's just like blocking the scene like horribly.
He's like, how do I feel though while I'm performing the scene? He's like,
just sit on the couch.
You feel turny. And then city.
No, you have to stop. You have to stop and then turn. Am I not explaining this?
And I think when you say, I want more, but I know I shouldn't, you can turn away.
And then you got to be like, Obi-Wan. Don't tell me what to do.
The good part is saying, what am I doing? And the bad part is saying, I'm doing this for Padme, I'm doing this for us, and it'll be better for the universe, it'll be better for everybody.
I heard that Irvin Kershner was actually supposed to have done one of the prequels at one point. Like he was in talks to maybe direct a prequel at one point.
Oh.
You know, way back when.
Way back, yeah.
He's dead now.
Yes, of course. And he was dead by the time of the prequels, was he?
I think he died like maybe 10 years ago.
Oh, I thought it was like, I thought he died much farther back than that. Anyway.
Yeah, 2010. Yeah.
So. Oh, okay, yeah, that was relatively recent. So he lived to see all those prequels.
This is really strange. I Googled, when did Irvin Kershner die? And it said Kershner died on November 27, 2010 at his home in Los Angeles after a 31 and a half year battle with lung cancer. It says 31/2 year battle with lung cancer. Like 31 halves?
Yeah, divide that by 31.
Can you fight lung cancer for 31 and a half years?
I guess so.
Is that what they're actually saying? I'm going to click the Wikipedia. 3.5 years.
Oh, okay.
But Google parsed it to be like 31 over 2.
It's like, so most of his life, he was, or a third of his life, he was battling
For
cancer.
31 and a half years, I battled lung cancer.
I felt I needed humor in the picture, and yet I couldn't have gags. I needed a love story, and yet I couldn't have a lot of smooching.
I didn't know I had an Irving Kershner impression, but I did.
You pulled it out. You pulled it out of this.
I pulled it out of Yoda's left ear.
I'm getting like flashbacks to like the pre-roll of like Empire Strikes Back. The
we
VHS
weren't
tape.
able to have the kinds of planes and ships and this sort of thing on Cloud City.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.